So, okay, I wanted to talk about um, the topic of occult involvement and the, the danger involved. Um, um, uh, when I got into this meditation thing and and I had this Kundalini awakening. Naturally, I was very interested in the occult, and maybe what opened my eyes about um, Jesus might be actually that that uh, I realized that there are books about black magic, thousands of books, and some of them are very old books, and that's not just some Indiana Jones story. And I read and listened to a lot of things about the Kabbalah, Aleister Crowley, and Israel Regardie, who was Crowley's secretary, who was who himself wrote many books about Kabbalism, and it's a very fascinating topic, and especially if you basically were an atheist for most of your life. If you read that, it's really eye-opening that there are books about black magic. I thought that's just Walt Disney stuff, but there are books about black magic, and Crowley defined magic as causing changes to occur in conformity with your willpower, and it works. And I immersed myself in a lot of knowledge about that stuff. Crystal magic, for example, or ceremonial magic, and all these things before the Lord pulled me out of that, because it escalates, and you get very slowly, you get deeper and deeper into that, and it goes slow enough that you don't really realize that there's really a force behind that, and it's not a positive thing. And according to Derek Prince, occult involvement is one of the things that really can mess up your life and put a curse over you and your whole bloodline, basically. And all these things are very interesting, like the Kabbalah, the Tree of Life. But I had so much time to get into this stuff. I I even have a book about the Kabbalah, and and but the thing is that in my opinion, what Helena Blavatsky started and Anne Bailey started. Anne Bailey wrote a book, The Externalization of the Hierarchy, which is, as far as I know, it's the externalization of the satanic hierarchy into the world very slowly and planned. And this has gone on for over 100 years now, this slow process of externalizing the occult, which was basically mostly for, I think, for the blue bloods and the royals and people like that, this knowledge about how to influence, how to impress your will onto nature, and I think that there's an agenda to push this stuff. But now comes the big but, and the big but is, but it is all based on a lie. It's, for example, the Kabbalah that most people learn or can. Basically, nowadays you can buy books on Kabbalism on Amazon. It's all a twisted form of Kabbalism. As far as I know, it's basically in the Kabbalah, which is also the basis of Freemasonic esotericism, where you have the two pillars of Freemasonry, Joachim and Boaz, which is the pillar of mercy and the pillar of severity, and Jacob's ladder, which is the middle pillar. And these are basically, they switch the pillars. So what people read in these books, and you think you can just buy a book for $25 and practice black magic. It's no. There is, as far as I know, and I know that from a source that was somehow connected to certain agency who is very much involved in occult stuff, and he was associated with these people, and he said that the real Kabbalah, the last book was published about it over 100 years ago. Since then, all the books on Kabbalah are intentionally false. So, for example, either the pillar of mercy and the pillar of severity are switched from left to right, or the Sephirah are changed in some way. So if you use this false tree of life, you are messing up your energy system, and so that's very foolish to think you can learn something like that on the internet or in books. Even if you pay a lot of money for these books and you think you have it figured out, the last real book about Kabbalah was from A.E. Waite, the Holy Kabbalah, and he was an ex-Golden Dawn member turned Christian. He called him Christian nutcase, this guy. There you see the real tree of life, and it's not at all what you can learn on the internet. So but I don't want to go deeper into that, because I think that maybe people could who practice Kabbalism, for example, Madonna practices Kabbalism, and Ashton Kutcher and many celebrities, but according to him it's all based on the wrong Kabbalah, and that's so. For example, if you practice this for 10 years, you make these rituals, Kabbalistic rituals, and it's all based on basically a mirror image of the real Kabbalah. What you're doing is you're using the backside of the tree of life, because the pillars are switched, and the backside of the tree of life is the tree of death. So, and all these people who are involved in this stuff, they begin to see demons and stuff, not just in dreams, but when they are awake. And there was a story about Nicole Kidman, who supposedly is very much afraid of mirrors, and obviously if you're involved in these rituals, you begin to see things, especially in mirrors, and you don't see your face, you see demonic things in the mirror. And Nicole Kidman doesn't have a mirror in her house, so when her stylist comes over, she has to bring a mirror with her. And a lot of celebrities are involved in these occult rituals. Obviously, that's not the big secret anymore. And yeah, I'm really glad that when Jesus came, that all these occultic powers just went away, and for the first time in years I could sleep at night and have peace of mind, which was absolutely incredible for me. I thought that it's normal that you have 10 voices in your head all the time, and that's something that I just accumulated through meditation, invocation, ceremonial magic, Kabbalistic magic, which I did, and I did a few things that I really regret, and I repented of that, and that's just to emphasize what I try to say, that every other spiritual way than the Bible is extremely dangerous, and there's only one Prince of Peace, Prince of Life, Lord of Lords, and King of Kings, and that is Jesus Christ, in my opinion. And the problem is that there are many people out there who advertise occultism, but basically if you're going down that road long enough, there comes there comes a time where you're just too far down that road. There is no going back anymore. So people say that Jesus can save anyone, but if you were involved in there are unforgivable sins, and I think that many people are really trapped in this occultism, and they're just stuck with that. So all they can do is advertise it, and I think that this stuff is much more widespread than people think. And people think that when they read a book about like magic in theory and practice, they read this book and they think that that's harmless and so on. But it's not harmless. It's when you do one spell, it's like you're jumping off a cliff, and getting back up there is very hard. And if you're involved in satanic rituals, then there comes a time where God will not redeem you anymore, because you've done too much evil stuff that this is possible. But that's just my opinion. I think that many people are stuck in this occult insanity, maybe even through their parents or grandparents. And especially in Hollywood, this is a plague, and there have been many celebrities who have spoken out about these things. Keanu Reeves, for example, Mel Gibson, but these people, they spoke about these things. Like Mel Gibson said it in an interview, but he worded it in a way that if you don't know what he means, you just don't get it. It goes over your head. He talks about like he was like when he came to Hollywood, he was sought after because he had still the dust on his shoes, like a normal unenlightened farmer's boy or something, straight from the farm to Hollywood. And he gave this interview. It's about an hour long, where he talks about when he first came to Hollywood, what a culture shock it was. And basically he told the truth. It was 1992 or so, where he said that he was shocked by that they are all involved in these rituals and so on, and yeah, and I think that he talked a little too much, because they really character assassinated him. And now there's this Tom Hanks story, and of course Pizzagate, and these things are all just conspiracy theories, but maybe not. And if anybody knows about Isaac Cappy, who was a friend of Macaulay Culkin, and Seth Green. Seth Green played Dr. Evil's son in Austin Powers, and he said that they are involved in unspeakable stuff, and he died. He jumped off a bridge, and suddenly now there's this corona crisis, and yeah, anyway, just wanted to say that the occult is definitely a way to make yourself not rich but poor. You're going to curse yourself with it. It's not possible anymore to become the second Aleister Crowley, because the knowledge has been too much distorted that you are able to get to the bottom of all these things. And as I said, according to this source, which is a very credible guy, the last real book about the Kabbalah was from 1912 or 1902. It's called The Holy Kabbalah by A.E. Waits, W-A-I-T-E-S, Waits. And you can see that the pillars have been switched. So if you're involved in Kabbalism, this should definitely make you nervous. And I would urge you to get rid of your books and wands and whatever, and buy yourself a Bible, because I think that the time where the occult is a way forward, or like Anton LaVey said, a way to be a big fish in a small pond, that this time is over. The real stuff has been hidden, and it's all just twisted and distorted now. So yeah, thanks for listening.